Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 10th, and welcome to our full council agenda. I am Montgomery County Council President Gabe Albornoz, and we will begin this morning with 3 presentations. We're going to reverse the order just a little bit, and we will start with the proclamation recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month. I will be joined by my colleagues, Council Members Katz and Council Vice President Evan Glass. And if I could please invite up representatives from DHHS, Everymind, Cornerstone, and our Mental Health Advisory Committee.
I know this group, they're not bad.
All right, good morning, everyone. May marks Mental Health Awareness Month, and this month in particular, it is so important for us to focus on this critical issue that has impacted every single person across this country and across this world in ways that are profound and overwhelming. I am joined today, and we will hear from soon, representatives from the Department of Health and Human Services, led by Dr. Kroll, as well as Everymind, led by Ann Mazur, Cornerstone Montgomery, Kerry Cho, and Ms. Helga Lewest, Chair of the Mental Health Advisory Committee. These are remarkable individuals that represent so much of what is so critical right now, leaders who have stepped forward to ensure that we provide critical wraparound services to people who have been in crisis. And we know that based on CDC data, there are more than 40% of U.S. adults are struggling with mental health or substance abuse. We know that women and youth were the most impacted emotionally by COVID, and the suicide rate in the Black community has increased by over 30%. We know that our hotline here in Montgomery County answered 32% more calls, text messages, and chats than last year. And our hotline also conducted more than 10,000 suicide screenings, a 48% increase from last year as well. More than 66% of text messages and chats and 10% of calls to our hotline are from youth under the age of 24. We've also seen our children and youth experience an added stress and anxiety that is expressing itself in a number of different ways in our schools. And we have to, in addition to supporting these remarkable community-based organizations, do everything we can to support children, youth, and families and help ensure that we address some of those trigger issues that are leading to such mental health toll. This has to be an all-hands-on-deck approach, and this has to include every policymaker, every resident, every parent, every teacher, all of us working collaboratively together to support our families in crisis. So I want to especially thank and recognize the individuals, the behavioral health specialists. I've got one in my office, a clinical licensed social worker, and Beth Schumann, who are continuing their extraordinary work during extraordinary times. We know that many people are leaving the profession because of burnout. We know that fewer people are signing up for the profession because of burnout. We have to do everything we can to uplift this critically important work. There is no more important calling, especially right now. I'd like to now invite my 2 colleagues to say some words as well. I'll first invite Council Member Sidney Katz, followed by Council Vice President Evan Glass. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Council President. Well said. You know, millions of Americans, as we all know, struggle with mental health, according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And 1 in 5 adults and 1 in 6 youth, aged 6 to 17, experience mental health illness each year. It affects all of us in every aspect of our lives, at every stage of our life. And in recent years, there has been an increasing acknowledgement of the importance in recognizing and treating mental health illness. There was a time it was a topic that families didn't talk about. Thank goodness the time now is that we do, because the first step in solving a problem is to admit to the problem. And that is exactly what we continue to do. And I, too, join our partners, and they are our partners, both governmental and nonprofit, in helping us help our communities. Many of you have heard me say I sincerely believe a community is a family, and our family needs help, and each of our families do. Their service to the county is absolutely essential. It's important to do things exactly like we're doing today, to recognize the work that they do, to remind all of us that we need to continue to fight to ensure that all residents receive the care and treatment they need. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm going to turn it, I guess, to Vice President Claes.
Good morning, everybody. The last 2 years have been an extremely difficult one for all members of our community. The economic anxiety, the housing anxiety, the food insecurity, it manifests itself. And we are seeing that stress play out in our schools, in our communities, on our streets. And it is because of our network of support exhibited by the incredible individuals and the organizations each of them represents behind me that we are working extremely hard to make sure that every person in our community receives the help that they need. This is the crisis of our time. The statistics that my colleague shared with you underscore it, but each and every one of us know it. We know people who need help, and our kids are screaming out to us to get them that help. And I want to extend my deep appreciation for every single person behind me for the work they and their team members do to try to make our community whole. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will hear from members of that team. First, we will hear from Dr. Raymond Kroll, Director of our Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Council President Albornoz. You know, this is, there's good news and there's bad news in this. And the bad news is that we are in the worst time of our history in terms of mental health and stress and anxiety and depression and risk of suicide and major mental health in our entire lifetime, and certainly in my career. The good news is that I have never before seen the numbers of people who have been willing to say, I need help. I need to talk to someone. I need to outreach. I need someone to talk to in this moment. The numbers of people who've taken mental health first aid in this county have been incredible, and I very much appreciate that and want to say thank you to the public who has done that and who's recognized that stigma can't stop you, shouldn't stop you, that we need to kill stigma, and the way we kill stigma is by talking about this with each other and with and seeking help when we need it. You know, there's a lot of fear about what therapy is, whether or not someone is going to mess with your mind. Therapy is a conversation between two people, and one of them has a set of skills that they bring to the table to help you find a better way of living and a help and better mental health. We are all struggling. In the last 2 years, we have all gone through our moments of anxiety and depression and fear and uncertainty. These are uncertain times, and that is not anything to be worried about or to be ashamed of. It is appropriate to talk to each other. It is appropriate to talk to friends and family. It is appropriate to pay attention to what's happening with your friends and to reach out and to say, hey, look, you look like you're a little stressed. How are you doing today? You may be the voice that helps someone turn a corner at a desperate hour. And so don't be afraid to talk about it. There is no shame in talking about it, and there is absolutely, it's absolutely a statement of courage. I want to thank the teams who have gone, the providers over the last couple of years who went from sitting in an office to going to telehealth and telemental health to make sure that those services are available to the public and out there for you. My team in the Department of Health and Human Services has done that. The provider network has done that. They have also continued to work in person with people where it was necessary, despite the risks that it has posed throughout this over the last 2 years. So I want to thank them. Our hotline is incredibly busy and is a fruitful place to start a conversation if you need to. They can do a lot with you and a lot to help, and they can help you get connected to a deeper level of service if that's what you need. So I want to thank the County Council for their support, the County Executive for his support over the last 2 years. We have grown our mental health service system enormously. There are still challenges in terms of the numbers of people and in terms of recruiting, but we are on the job and we are working to give you every opportunity you can to get you the help you need to preserve and protect your mental health. So I want to thank you all, and thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Dr. Kroll. Next, we will hear from Ann Mazur, Chief Executive Officer of Every Mind.
Thank you, Council President Albornoz and council members. Appreciate your comments. I'll build a little bit on what Dr. Crowell just mentioned and also what the Council President mentioned, that it's all hands on deck. And as Dr. Crowell mentioned, people are reaching out more than ever, and I encourage everyone to be that person, to listen, to understand what's going on, and to act on that and help support the person. Every one of us in the community, I love the all hands on deck comment, can help support. And all you need to do is open the conversation and ask someone how they're doing. Also, as the organization Every Mind that answers the hotline, you heard the tremendous statistics as far as the individuals that are reaching out and the suicide assessments being done. But I also encourage everyone to reach out if you're not in a crisis. A big part of the hotline is supportive listening. And also for individuals that need support in helping someone else. So if you have had that question with someone and you're not sure what to do, our hotline can help support you. So you can reach out and say, you know, I talked to a colleague or I talked to a friend, and the hotline can help walk you through that. So those are the 2 points I would add. Thank you again.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Kerry Cho, Chief Executive Officer of Cornerstone Montgomery.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, President Albornoz. I would just like to thank everyone for the recognition, for the words that have been spoken. It is certainly true that the last 2 years have been some of the most challenging of my career, and it is just incredible to see the support that has happened, all of the resources that have been provided and figured out during this last 2 years. What I will say is the work is not yet over. I would actually say, in fact, I said it, I think 2 or 3 times yesterday alone, that I actually found the pandemic to be easier than what we're going through right now. Coming out of the pandemic, getting back to normal, whatever that looks like for everybody, is even more challenging. And I'm talking about for the clients as well as our staff. Just getting back to in-person for some clients, for some staff is a challenge. We still do telehealth, we still do remote things, but we've had throughout the entire pandemic, all of our housing staff have been essential. They've been on site the entire time. And really finding that balance and making sure people feel supported and can keep moving forward. I'm finding that that's even more challenging now. And now is when we're seeing the burnout. Now is when we're seeing the turnover and the hiring challenges. And the work is not over, is just what I would like my message to be. The support has been incredible, and we need to keep working. It does take a village to keep moving forward and get support for all those who need it. But thank you again for this recognition.
Thank you so much. And last, we will hear from Ms. Helga Lewest.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Mental Health Advisory Committee. And, we've been working on the mental health issues for a long time, but it's clear that right now is an extraordinary time of need. We know historically from single moments of disaster or whether it's a man-made or natural disaster, that 6 months to 3 years in the aftermath is when we start to see really significant mental health concerns, where we see substance abuse increase, where we see domestic abuse and child abuse increase. And we've had this prolonged experience of the pandemic, and that has added complicating factors for our kids. And I bring them out specifically because I think that children have had the not only the experience of the pandemic, but during important stages of development when it's so important to socialize, connect, learn social norms. And they've had to isolate and be disconnected in a way. So we have a lot of learning ahead, what kids will really need to recover and build those strong relationships, build those strong social connections. I also want to call out our frontline workers and healthcare workers in particular, mental health care workers, teachers and school administrators. We're seeing attrition rates that are astounding at a time when we have extraordinary need. And so we don't have all the answers and we don't have all the resources, but we are a very strong community. And what I would encourage everyone to do is show kindness, understanding, be a listener, and contribute where you can, because there are plenty of avenues in Montgomery County to contribute and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Just this sort of came to me as everybody was speaking, but the temperature has turned up really high right now in our world. It's overwhelming. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to give each other some grace. There's a lot of anger about a lot of different things right now, and that's understandable. But you never know what's happening to the person on the other side that you are projecting that anger to. And that anger may be coming from a legitimate place. But we have to understand and respect each other, especially now. We have to model that behavior. So with that, my colleagues and I are going to read a proclamation together. Let's see. Whereas May 2022 is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and our nation and Montgomery County are facing an unprecedented mental health crisis across all ages, as individuals and families struggle with significant loss, grief, trauma that has been steadily mounting over the last 2 years. And
whereas 2 out of the 5 adults report symptoms of anxiety and depression, and Black and brown communities have been disproportionately impacted, exacerbating overall health disparities that include behavioral health. And
whereas our youth have been significantly impacted, with more than 4 in 10 adolescents reporting persistent sadness or hopelessness, and 1 in 5 saying they have contemplated suicide, or emergency department report visits for attempted suicide are rising 51% among adolescent girls. And
at the core of this crisis is a severe shortage of behavioral health providers and treatment options, highlighting the urgency and expanding the supply, diversity, and cultural competency of this workforce to ensure access to care for everyone who needs help, when and where they need it. And
whereas Montgomery County is fortunate to have dedicated frontline professionals and paraprofessionals across the mental health and health system who continue to serve their community through this unprecedented time. And
whereas Montgomery County is committed to promoting the health, safety, and well-being of our health and mental health workforce and provider community, and is committed to supporting a wide range of prevention and intervention treatment for the benefit in our community. And
bring it home. You're in land the plane. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes May 2022 as National Mental Health Awareness Month and calls upon government and public and private institutions, schools, and businesses to ensure the well-being of our children, families, and communities now more than ever, and to reduce the stigma that often prevents individuals from seeking help as we align in our commitment to addressing mental health holistically and equitably. Presented on this 10th day of May in the year 2022, signed by myself and Councilmember Katz. All right, let's take a picture. All right, thank you so much. We now move on to the next proclamation. And this is a proclamation recognizing Building Safety Month presented by myself and the county executive. right, everyone who is here for that proclamation, please come forward. Earlier this year, our community experienced another tragedy, but thanks to the incredible work of our first responders and the partnership with the community, the explosion that occurred at Friendly Gardens Apartments could have been so much more severe, so much more worse than it actually ended up being. But while by the grace of God, nobody passed away in that specific incident, we know there have been too many examples across our community and across this country in which buildings that were not safe, that were not properly safeguarded, led to tragedy, and often disproportionately impacting our Black and brown communities and often disproportionately impacting children, youth, and families. There's so much that we have to do as a community, and this month reminds us that we have to take every step reasonable, whether it's legislation, whether it's education, whether it's supporting our first responders, but also the residents that live in these particular homes and ensuring that they have the safety and security that they need. The fastest growing demographic in our community is our aging population, and that brings with it a unique set of challenges, but also opportunities to ensure that we support all of our residents, especially those most vulnerable. So I am proud to be standing with the county executive and recognizing this important proclamation, and now I turn to him to say a few words. Mr. County Executive.
So this year's theme is safety for all, building codes and action. And as Gabe mentioned, you know, we had that tragic event in Silver Spring that could have been a lot worse. The county's also had a number of deck collapses over the last year. Anybody ever goes into Home Depot, you don't see people doing a lot of work with building permits. It's a lot of folks going home and building their own decks. We are offering a deck inspection program now. And we've had over 500 applicants, and I think you've done over 200 inspections already to help make sure that people's decks are safe and they don't collapse on them. This county takes this very seriously, so we're being proactive about this. We're not looking for somebody who did it without a permit. We just want to make sure these things have been done right, and we want to give people the peace of mind that the work is satisfactory, and if they need to fix it, they can fix it. These dedicated code officials, they've really stepped up during COVID-19. They kept doing this work throughout, doing the inspections we needed to do, and also processing applications and permits so that office did not shut down during COVID. So I want to thank them for persistence through this very difficult period. And we recognize this work is both critical to public safety and critical to the economy. We need to make sure that our buildings are safe. We need to be able to process applications in a timely manner. And everybody needs to have a comfort level that when you go into a building in Montgomery County, you know that it's been inspected, you know that it's safe, and you know that it's going to be there when you leave. So I'm just very happy to be here today. We have an amazing team of people. Our fire department is part of all this. Permitting services, it takes a team to do this work, and we've put together a team that's really doing this work aggressively, and I'm really happy to see all these inspections being done. Thank you.
Absolutely. And in a moment, the county executive will read the proclamation, but I'm going to introduce the folks that are behind me, just to, not to say a few words, but just to recognize their important work. We've got an all-star cast here and that are doing phenomenal work every day. Mitra, Piodim, the Director of the Department of Permitting Services, Ishan Motasedi, the Deputy Director, Kadban Bedios, Victor Salazar from Zoning, Well and Septic and Code Compliance Division Chief, James Sackett, the Residential Inspections Manager, Sonia Burke, Community Outreach Manager, Lori Lee Savage, DPS Senior Executive Administrative Assistant, and we are also joined by Chief Scott Goldstein, and we also have Ivan Eloisa, representing the Department of Housing and Community Affairs, and Emily Dedita from the Montgomery County Department of Transportation. So thank you all so much for your remarkable work. I see Chris Conklin's here as well. So thank you all. We will now read the proclamation. All right. we've gotten good at this. Whereas Montgomery County, Maryland is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And
whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, builders, designers, engineers, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And
whereas the guardians, who are dedicated members of the Department of Permitting Services and work with the other county departments, including Fire and Rescue Services, Housing and Community Affairs, and Department of Transportation, to ensure that the built environment follows and implements the highest quality codes to protect us in buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And
whereas the theme for Building Safety Month 2022 is Safety for All, Building Codes in Action, encourages county residents to raise awareness about planning for safe and sustainable construction, career opportunities in building code enforcement, disaster mitigation, backyard safety, energy conservation, and a safe and abundant water supply, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety rules by Montgomery County. And
all right. Whereas during Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Mark Elrich, as County Executive, and myself as Council President of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby proclaim May 2022 as Building Safety Month. In Montgomery County, we encourage our residents to join in honoring our commitment to our building professionals and county departments that keep our communities safe. Signed by myself and the County Executive. All right, get tight, get tight. You're going to be throwing it. Yeah. No, colleagues, if you want to stand up. Sorry.
Sweetie Petey. Is that so?
Let's do the silly version, Pete.
Yeah, but that's what it is. That's what they call him, Sweetie Petey. We're 25.
Good to see you.
All right, and the final proclamation this morning is ALS Awareness Month, presented by Councilmember Rice.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Councilmember Katz is going to come down and join us. Jonathan and Angela, please come down. Angela Ostrom, who's our Senior Director of Volunteer Engagement with the ALS Association, and Jonathan Strasberg, who's our Associate Director of Major Gifts with the ALS Association, are joining us today, along with Councilmember Katz. This is going to be tough, so bear with me. So May 21st was the last day that I got an email from my chief of staff. And in typical form, he was reminding me of a commitment that I had made to Louisa to attend the Taste of Wheaton. And he said, don't forget, you made a promise to make sure that you showed up. I know how your schedule is, but you need to be there in at least some capacity for some point. And while it's a simple email, it is indicative of how Steve continued to help me throughout my career in elected office. It is the reason why I have had the successful career that I've had. As I look back, leaving this council, I'm so proud of the work that I was able to do. And I'm so proud of the impact that Steve has had on me. I hope my message today is to never give up on people. I made a promise to Steve when he first came down with ALS that I would stand by him as he has always stood by me. He continues to do so today, saying, Craig, don't make a big deal about this. Make sure that people know how important it is to care for those around you, to continue to lift them up, and continue to do what you say you're going to do. Hold true to your promise. ALS is a devastating disease. Physically, your body becomes debilitated, but your mind is still working the same way as it has always been. And so it's incredibly challenging for so many people who want to do so much more, but their body's just not able. It creates mental anguish, and so our conversation about mental health is so incredibly important because not only does it affect the individual, but affects all those around them. I encourage us to continue to remain vigilant to find a cure. Just as we have with cancer, with HIV and AIDS, we have found so many advances that have helped fulfill and extend the lives of those who are afflicted, and now we have some new treatments that are really coming about now that are helping folks in that respect. But we can't take our foot off the pedal. It is important for us to make sure that we're doing everything we can to fight off the scourge of ALS. I want to thank the ALS Association. They are the only national not-for-profit that is dedicated solely to fighting ALS. So many people still don't know. Many people refer to it as Lou Gehrig's disease still, and we continue to fight for community services, public education, advocacy. And many of you know that one of our very own, Jay Kenny, also has been diagnosed with ALS and is now in the fight of his life as well. I want to close by wishing him and all those across the world who are challenged with ALS, and I want them to know, while they may not be watching at home today, I hope that someone tells them that there are people out there who are not going to give up on you. There are people out there who know the great things that you've contributed, who are going to stick by your side. And there are those people who are going to continue to fulfill the promises that they made to you and to others to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to live out a fulfilling, healthy, and productive life. And so with that, I turn it over to Councilmember Katz.
Thank you, my good friend, and you said it so very, very well. I said earlier on the mental health topic that a community is a family. And the council community, and especially Councilmember Rice's office, truly was a family that we all lived and saw the dedication of Steve Goldstein. This morning, I was going to stop by. There's a plaque near the pond out front, and I was going to stop and reflect for a few moments about Steve. And of course, that entranceway is blocked off for the next couple weeks. And I thought, in one respect, I couldn't be there but in another respect, it was Steve talking to us that said, get through today. There'll be another day when we can reflect. And that was truly, truly him. He was just a remarkable person. And Jay, as Councilmember Rice has talked about, Jay is also so remarkable, and our thoughts and prayers go out for him as well. But one thing about these proclamations, it does cause all of us, especially me, I guess, to look up and find out what you do when you don't remember about things. And it is called the Lou Gehrig disease, and that was diagnosed in the 1930s. In the 1930s. And one of the things that I realized or saw in my search was that early signs usually include muscle weakness or stiffness. But getting the proper evaluation, as Councilmember Rice mentioned, in a timely way is so very important, since there is a drug, and I believe I'll probably pronounce it incorrectly, Ruliatech, which has been shown to help delay help delay the progression of ALS. Researchers learn about ALS every day, and we thank them and the fine organizations that have joined us here today for doing what they need to do to help all of us gain the support so that we can find a cure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Katz. And now we're going to have Angela Ostrom, who is, again, the Senior Director of Volunteer Engagement with the ALS Association. So, Angela.
Thank you to the council and Councilmember Rice in particular for this recognition. On behalf of the ALS Association, in particular our staff and volunteers serving the DC, Maryland, and Virginia chapter in this area, we're very grateful for this proclamation of awareness. As the council members noted, awareness can have a great impact, and that's important for our mission and our cause. The awareness brings more families and individuals impacted by ALS to the association so that we can provide a lifeline of support and care services. Awareness brings more donors to our organization, more members sharing the message so that there is an awareness of ALS and its impact and an awareness to the connection of care services that can help make that quality of life better. That is important to our association. Our goal as an association is to make ALS a livable disease by 2030. And that starts with the support that will help bring about more research and cures. That starts with the support that helps bring more care services to Montgomery County and those living with ALS in Montgomery County. The chapter is incredibly proud to serve as a grantee from the state of Maryland and the Department of Health to provide more care services in the state of Maryland. We're proud to be a partner to the county in providing those care services supports. ALS, as the council member noted, is a fatal disease with a life expectancy of 3 to 5 years. It takes away individuals' mobility, their ability to communicate. A lifeline to their life that once was is devastated. Caregivers, families are impacted by this fatal disease and what it means every day. So while we work toward that goal of a 2030 livable disease and a better quality outcome, every day our association is serving those families in Montgomery County with support groups, with care services, with assisted technology, helping make communication possible as the disease robs you of your ability to speak, helping make mobility and accessibility to your home possible with ramps and other assisted mobility equipment and durable medical equipment. These are the things that make life possible for individuals living with ALS, make a better quality outcome, help make them connected to their family, their community, and keep them engaged in life as they fight this disease. And every one of them are heroes to us, to our teams, and to our volunteer network. And we stand to fight for those like Steve, who are no longer here, and for those like Jay, who are continuing to battle this disease so that they may once be able to bring this disease to a livable state. So we're very grateful for this awareness and for the support of the council. So thank you.
And I would be remiss if I did not thank all of my colleagues, my council colleagues, and council staff who always rallied around Steve and supported him throughout his journey. It will be May 27th, 3 years since Steve passed away. So 17 days from now. With that, Sydney, let's go ahead and read the proclamation. I'll start off. Whereas ALS is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive neurodegenerative illness that inhibits one's ability to walk, talk, eat, and ultimately to breathe. And
whereas approximately 30,000 Americans, including 50 county residents, are living with ALS, with 5,000 new ALS diagnosis every year, and the United Nations has projected that the number of ALS cases in the developed world will increase by 69% through 2040, and
whereas ALS can strike a person of any gender, age, religion, and race, and disproportionately impacts military veterans who are twice as likely to be diagnosed and face an average annual cost of $143 in healthcare expenses, $143,000 in healthcare expenses, and
whereas the ALS Association DC, Maryland, Virginia chapter is at the forefront of treatment, research for ALS, and works tirelessly to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest, and
whereas the organization provides access to ALS multidisciplinary clinics, as well as free home visits, equipment loan closets, transportation grants, and monthly support groups, and
whereas the ALS Association's Esther Lerner Brenner ALS Assistive Technology Lab in Rockville opens new doors for people living with ALS through technological innovation, enabling patients to reclaim their voices and live with greater autonomy.
Now, therefore, do we proclaim May 2022 as ALS Awareness Month, and be it further resolved that the County Council encourages residents to adopt the ALS Association core values of compassion, integrity, and urgency to find a cure and create a world without ALS, signed this 10th day of May in the year 2022 by myself and the Council President. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, come on down, please.
All right, thank you, everyone. Those were three very important proclamations this morning, as they always are. We now move on to general business. Madam Clerk, do we have any agenda changes or announcements?
Good morning, Council President, Council Vice President, Council members. We have a few announcements. First, there has been a new date for a public hearing, the introduction special appropriation to the county government's FY22 operating budget, Office of the County Executive, $4,690,000 for COVID-19 business rental assistance and hotel relief program, an amendment to the FY22 operating budget resolution 19-872 section G, FY22 designation of entities for non-competitive contract award status, Latino Economic Development Corporation of Washington, D.C. The public hearing is now scheduled for May 19th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. Introduction Special Appropriation Number 2286 to the County Government's FY22 operating budget, Department of Health and Human Services, Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, Emergency Rental Assistance Program, $8.8 million. That public hearing has also been scheduled for May 19th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. Also, the Special Appropriation 2285 to the County Government's FY22 operating budget, Department of Health and Human Services, Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development Grant, Emergency Rental Assistance Program 2, $6,488,000. That public hearing is also scheduled for May 19th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. We have added item number L, Introduction Supplemental Appropriation to the County Government's FY22 operating budget, Department of Transportation, $12,472,739, and Department of General Services, $3,146,137 for snow removal, wind and rainstorm cleanup. The lead sponsor of this is the Council President at the request of the County Executive. The public hearing action will be scheduled May 26, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. There were no petitions received by the council this week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. The council has not received any minutes for approval, so we can bypass the action on item C. We now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a work session regarding the FY23 operating budget of Fire and Rescue Service. I want to welcome Chief Goldstein and Ms. Farag. And I will turn it over to the chair of our Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And the committee did recommend approval of the budget submitted by the executive, with the exception of adding $150,000 to the operating budget to provide fleet and building maintenance services to the Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad in a manner which is similar to what is provided to all local fire and rescue departments. And with that, the committee did vote 3-0 on that. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And we also wanted to very publicly thank the fire and rescue, the personnel and all associated with fire and rescue for all of their life-saving work each and every day. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I want to echo those comments. Thank you so much, Chief Goldstein. The way that your team has performed, especially these last 2 years, is nothing short of heroic. It is extraordinary. I had my opportunity to do my ride-along about 6 months ago, and it just reminded me once again about the challenges, the unique sets of challenges facing your team and your department at all levels. So I really want to thank you for that leadership. Councilmember Friedson wanted to make some comments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the chair of the Public Safety Committee and all the members of the Public Safety Committee. Really appreciate the $150,000. Just note, it's not actually direct cash like most things in the budget. It is an estimate for what the cost would be to provide maintenance services that, frankly, the county is already largely paying for. And this is just really important. It's about equity for this local fire rescue department and the volunteers who dedicate their time and provide the county with terrific service, life-saving support. But it's also a recognition of some of the changes that have happened. For a long time, the BCC Rescue Squad was serving the region, was serving D.C. and Montgomery County. Those services to D.C. have recently ended. It's exclusively a Montgomery County entity and a Montgomery County resource. They've recently picked up Station 7 to provide services there as well. And so they're expanding their footprint within Montgomery County and exclusively serving Montgomery County. And Chief, I appreciate your support and your efforts to the department as well. And I'll just note, while the revenue sources were diminishing for this organization, like so many other local fire rescue departments around the county, they generate revenue from renting out their banquet hall and providing other types of community resources. They still provided additional services to the county, not just in the life-saving work that they were doing as volunteer first responders, but also in the Nourishing Bethesda Coalition, for instance, that they host every Friday, serving thousands and thousands of families each and every Friday on their facility, which has costs. And so they've been tremendous assets to the community. This is a really significant support for them. It comes at a very modest cost, if you even want to call it a direct cost to the county. And I think this is something that we really ought to get right this year finally. So I thank the Public Safety Committee for your work and hope that we can get this through in the final budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Goldstein, any opening comments?
Thank you very much, President Albornoz. And Councilmember Friedson, as you outlined, the Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad, the men and women of the squad, for decades now have been critical to the Bethesda and greater community, and the COVID timeframe showed that another example of, as some of their members, their professional avocations are very closely tied to pandemic epidemiology and health and safety. They had some key folks that were a part of the COVID management team for MCFRS that worked with Chief Bailey and others within the department to set the guidelines, to establish, then test, then refine the operational parameters as to how we as an organization work to keep the 2,700 men and women of the organization healthy and protect the 1.1 or residents and visitors to the county. So Bethesda's role within the MCFRS continues today strong. In addition, their COVID presence was felt as they added EMS capacity, as several of the local volunteer fire rescue departments did throughout the pandemic or throughout the surges of the pandemic, as demand and need was increasing. So Bethesda continues to just and serve the community, both Bethesda and the greater county community, as you outlined. Thank you, President Albornoz and Mr. Friesen.
Thank you. Ms. Frog.
Good morning, everybody. For fire today, I just wanted to let council know there's a lot going on in the fire department's budget this year. And there's a couple of items here that the Public Safety Committee has not yet reviewed, 2 CIP amendments, so it's before the council for a straw vote today as well. The recommended budget is $251 million. That's about a 7.9% increase from last year's approved budget, which is very significant. There is a big reason for that. The fire department has been able to access a new source of funding from the state. The state applied for an amendment to their Medicaid plan, and this allows for additional reimbursement for Medicaid patients who get transported in an ambulance or EMS. And so they expect to get $9.4 million for that in FY22. And there are a bunch of supplemental appropriations coming across the street from the executive to reflect that new spending for FY22. They are tentatively scheduled to get introduced on May 17th. As for FY23, however, they're expecting about $11 million from this new ESPP fund, which is significant, and they're building out a lot more capacity in advanced life-saving and other EMS capacity, which is their primary service that they provide to the county. It's adding a total of 33.75 new positions. I also wanted to put this in the context of the fact that the fire department has experienced systemic overtime budget deficits, primarily in operating expenditures personnel expenditures for overtime. They did send over a supplemental appropriation about a month or so ago for $13.9 million, which the council has approved. About $9 million of that was for overtime costs, and the other part was for some operating costs that are also experiencing some deficits at this point, which I'll get into briefly. This is a structural issue. Again, the Public Safety Committee is very well aware of what's going on here. There was a county stat survey or study done that showed that there was a 180 firefighter deficit needed to meet their minimum staffing requirements without the use of any overtime. Now, that's not an efficient way to run a 24/7 business. There has to be some overtime, but going over the budget by $9 million every year is not the best way to appropriate funding for this. So I will move through what the ESPP funding is helping to add to the budget, and that includes the 33.75 positions that I just spoke about. That includes 5 FTEs to add 1 EMS capacity officer to coordinate patient transport to hospitals and balance emergency department loads. That'll be a benefit to both patients and the emergency departments. 5 FTEs to add an EMS duty officer to enhance advanced life support field supervision. 5 FTEs to staff a paramedic chase car that's at Station 1 in Silver Spring. 5 FTEs to add a flexible EMS resource. That's to be determined, that type of resource, and the chief might be able to speak more to that. It will be determined based on a data analysis of the experience that they have moving into FY23. 1 FTE for a battalion chief for EMS quality management, 1 EMS logistics program manager, 1 EMS supply tech, 2 paramedic firefighters for their mobile integrated health unit, a therapist and an administrative aide for first responder mental health support, 4 FTEs to support staffing at Station 40 in Sandy Spring, and 1 program manager to support small tools function, and 1 program manager, which is being unlapsed to promote volunteer activities. The committee was in time to discuss a county executive amendment to the recommended FY23 operating budget for $860,000. That expenditure increase reflects the FY23 fiscal impact of the FY22 2.25% GWA increase for IAFF members. This was formally discussed at the April 26th GO Committee work session on collective bargaining agreements, and the GO Committee recommended approval 3-0. There are some post-committee budget updates that I wanted to bring to your attention. I had briefly mentioned the supplemental appropriations for FY22. That is to expend the $9.4 million that they expect from this new source of funding in FY22. They've sent over 3, and we're expecting, actually, I think we just received a supplemental appropriation for the remainder for the FY22 operating budget, which is about $2 million. Lastly, I just wanted to bring to your attention the 2 CIP amendments, which have not yet been reviewed by the Public Safety Committee. These are on circles 39 and 40. They are using ESPP funds to accelerate funding to purchase the heart monitors and defib units for the various vehicles, various apparatus, and they are replacing short-term financing in that with some of these ESPP funds to reduce debt service. The other one is creating a new facility. Well, it's not a new facility. It's improving the 600 East Goody Drive, former men's shelter, to be used for different operations and some storage and some other civilian programs that the fire department currently runs, but they're located in a different facility on Georgia Avenue, which has been deemed not really usable space. I did have concern, even though it was not my subject matter area, and I did talk to former legislative senior analyst Linda McMillan, who handled this, about the methane gas concerns at that site several years ago that were making people sick and causing vibrations. I did reach out to the Department of Environmental Protection too and got some more information. Their FLARE program, which actually burns off the methane gas, has been remedied, and they've deemed the site to be suitable for occupation again. So that's the second CIP project. These 2 amendments that are brought to your attention. It has not been before the Public Safety Committee, and I am recommending approval as submitted.
I'll just note very quickly, I'm familiar with the methane gas situation. Was there actually on site the day that it was reported, and I know that there have been remarkable steps taken to help mitigate this moving forward, but I do think it's important, and I'm sure you would agree, Chief, that the monitoring system was not particularly sophisticated before. You haven't mentioned that, Ms. Farag, but have they updated the monitoring system? Because before, literally, people were walking around with cell phones and trying to track the wavelengths.
That I don't know.
Okay.
I would have to follow up on that.
Great. Just would encourage us to make sure that that is accessible and available to put everybody's at ease. But it is a facility that, assuming we can address those mitigation issues, should be utilized. Well, I don't see any questions or comments from colleagues, and we're joined virtually by Councilmember Tawando. So without objection, then, I believe we concur with the staff recommendation.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. That moves us on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 2.5. I'd like to ask for a motion to suspend the rules of procedure, Rule 7C, to allow immediate action for Agenda 2.5. Can I get a motion? Moved by Councilmember Rice, seconded by Councilmember Friedson. All those in favor, please raise your hands.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Normally I tee these up, but I'm not going to this time. I'm going to turn this directly over to Councilmember Novato.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to thank all my colleagues for voting to suspend the rules. I appreciate that very much. So last weekend we celebrated Mother's Day, and it's such a joyful experience. For me personally, it has been the greatest honor and privilege of my life to have been able to be a mother to my 2 extraordinary and amazing magical daughters. And so today I am introducing this particular resolution because I firmly believe that it is important to remember that pregnancy is a private and personal decision, and that for 50 years that decision has been respected, and it was as a result of extraordinary work, struggles, activism, fighting and battles of so many people that led us to the decision 50 years ago, which also brought a lot of peace and comfort, particularly to low-income women, but really all women that would then, before that, had to seek these types of care, access to abortion in back alleys. Many of them died. For many of them, it meant not being able to realize extraordinary potentials that existed for many others. Let's not be confused that it is not lost on me that I'm the only woman serving on this body. The reality is the struggle of women all over the world continues. And we see, of course, that access to education in so many countries is not accessible to women. During this Mother's Day weekend, my aunt and I were having a conversation via WhatsApp. She's in Venezuela. And we were reminiscing on the fact that my grandmother had one brother, and he was sent to school back in that time. And when her parents passed away, he took everything, sending her into a life of poverty. The parents were very wealthy. They had a lot of land. But the daughters were not sent to school. It just wasn't something that they did back in that time. My grandmother passed away at age 96 in 2015. However, she is the reason I'm standing here. She was the most extraordinarily brilliant woman I have ever had the privilege of knowing. And she instilled in me and she gave to me an amazing sense of strength and generosity. And so this is why today I think it is important to come together to affirm our commitment, a commitment that is not just symbolic, but that hopefully we'll learn at 12:30. The county executive has shared that he is prepared to send over a supplemental request to strengthen the work of so many organizations here in our county that provide access to safe and legal abortions and reproductive health. And so I just want to read the resolution. We've done a lot of proclamations today. The resolution. And it is resolution supporting the preservation of abortion rights under Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is a landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision that protects a pregnant individual's unequivocal right under the U.S. Constitution to choose to have an abortion prior to viability and to make healthcare decisions throughout pregnancy without undue government interference. Under the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, an individual has a right to privacy, including in healthcare decisions and access to abortion health. Roe v. Wade is consistent with legal precedent, including Griswold versus Connecticut 1965, the year I was born, and Eisenstadt versus Bayer 1972, and has been repeatedly reaffirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court, including in Obergefell and Hodges versus Hodges 2015. For nearly 5 decades, the constitutional right to an abortion has been consistently under attack, with some states enacting dangerous restrictions that make getting an abortion nearly impossible for many. According to the Guttmacher Institute, 26 states across the United States are certain or likely to ban abortions if Roe v. Wade is overturned, and 22 states have already laws or constitutional amendments in place that would ban abortions as soon as possible. Health clinics close and healthcare services disappear in states with laws restricting the right to choose, and individuals with low incomes and Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC communities are disproportionately impacted by restricting access to abortion care. The Harvard School of Public Health reports that restricting abortion access has negative implications and does not result in fewer abortions. Instead, abortion restrictions compel individuals to risk their health and their lives in seeking unsafe abortions. A 2021 research article published by Duke University Press estimated that banning abortions in the United States would lead to a 21% increase in the number of pregnancy-related deaths overall and a 33% increase in pregnancy-related deaths among Black women. The recently leaked draft U.S. Supreme Court opinion indicates that the High Court is prepared to end one's constitutional right to an abortion established under Roe v. Wade. In contrast, during the 2022 Maryland General Assembly session, state lawmakers voted to enact the Abortion Care Access Act, House Bill 937, which expands who can perform abortions by allowing health practitioners, including nurse practitioners, midwives, and physician's assistants, to perform the procedure. The law also requires the state government to contract with an organization to develop abortion care training programs at 2 community sites. The goal of the new law is to expand the number of healthcare professionals with abortion care training and to increase the racial and ethnic diversity of healthcare professionals with abortion care training. Here's the action. The County Council for Montgomery County, Maryland approves the following resolution. The council recognizes access to a safe and legal abortion as a fundamental human right. The council believes that a supportive legal framework for abortion care is critical and supports access for everyone who seeks the service. The council fully supports efforts to ensure that all individuals can access comprehensive, unbiased information and make their own health care decisions related to their bodies, promote preventative health care services, ensure that all residents have access to comprehensive, affordable health care that includes pregnancy-related care, prenatal care, miscarriage management, family planning services, abortion care, labor and delivery services, and postnatal care, and improve access to reproductive health care, regardless of the state where an individual lives or seeks care. The council urges the U.S. Supreme Court to maintain the fundamental rights provided under Roe v. Wade and urges the U.S. Congress to enact a law to make abortions legal across the nation. The council will work with federal and state lawmakers to advocate for an individual's right to choose and make their own health care decisions in Montgomery County, Maryland. The council is committed to ensuring that healthcare organizations that provide reproductive health services have the appropriate supports and capacity to safeguard reproductive rights in our communities. This is a correct copy of the council action, and it will be signed, of course, by the clerk. So with that, colleagues, this is a resolution, again, to affirm our support of a law in a protection that has been in place for over 50 years, and also to make sure that we are prepared in the event that many other individuals have to seek this kind of support here in our county and in our state. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It has been moved by Councilmember Navarro. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hucker, because he was the first one in my ear, but I think everybody would like to move that forward. All those in favor of the resolution, please raise your hands. Aye. And that is unanimous. All right. We now move on to the third item on the agenda, which is an interview for the Montgomery County Planning Board. Ms. Carol Rubin. Ms. Rubin, thank you so much for your dedication and service for so many years. We are thrilled that you continue to be willing to serve and appreciate all that you have done and will do. I have 4 questions for you. These are somewhat pro forma, but we have to go through this. So the first question is, what are your initial impressions during the short term you have served on the planning board?
First, before I answer the question, I'd like to just make a brief comment. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit. I'd like to dedicate my comments today to my stepfather, who passed away suddenly this week. He was a father, George Rosal. He was a father to me for the last 44 years. Particularly when my own father passed away in 1999. And he was always proud of my accomplishments. And I'm sorry, it's been a tough week. But I want to make sure that he hears me and continues to be proud. So thank you. So what I've learned in my short term as a board member has been the importance of cohesion. There's a lot that I've learned, but I'm trying to keep this really tight. Cohesion, not because diversity of thought is absolutely critical in everything that we do as the board. That means listening to everyone who has any stakeholder, any resident who has comments or concerns about any of the issues before the board. And I think that, acknowledging acknowledging those opinions, acknowledging that we're listening, but also relaying very clearly why the board makes the decisions that it makes, so that people are heard and they understand it. Because part of what our job, the board's job, is to do, is to respect the desires and the needs of the county, both in its current residents, for its future residents, and for anyone that would be impacted by those decisions. So, but I do believe that the cohesion of the board's decision is very important. I really never I didn't understand that as much as being a sitting board member. And the reason for that is because externally we need to support one another and have strength in the decisions that we make, both in the recommendations to the council and also in the actual decisions that we make for things that the council are not necessarily involved in, such as regulatory approvals. So that's probably the most important lesson that I've learned. So it's important to have a board that can work together well, and I think that we're getting there. And I think it's important to follow a good process for people to understand that they're being heard and recognized and acknowledged.
Well, Ms. Rubin, first, our deepest condolences. That was a beautiful, beautiful comment, and we are with you and your family, as I know, as well. Have you had an opportunity to consider any challenging issues during your time on the board, or any thoughts on the challenges that lie ahead for the board?
Oh, absolutely. When I applied for my original appointment last year to finish out Natalie Fani Gonzalez's term, I indicated that I thought the 4 critical issues that the board and actually the county would be facing in the short and actually the long term, in no particular order, because I think they're all important, is housing, transportation, economic development, and environmental sustainability and resilience. And the board has taken up issues related to all of those while I've been there. For example, economic development, the Silver Spring, downtown Silver Spring plan is really important to the county, and it's important to the economic development of the county. We just recently took up the no net loss of forest, and that would be in the environmental aspects, or resiliency. While I'm giving examples of while I've been there, attainable housing is still before us. The attainable housing study, in fact, we'll have another work session coming up soon. And then finally on transportation, the Carter Forward Plan, which I appreciate that this council, we moved forward in this council. You all approved it. Thank you very much. But the most critical issue among that, taking all of those concerns, is balance. It's hard to balance everything together, but they are all interconnected. They're all critical issues for the county, critical issues for our residents, but they need to be balanced, and they need to be balanced appropriately. So as I said earlier, it's important that we, as a board, and listen to what all of the stakeholders say. It's no secret that people in this county have very strong opinions, and many of them are single issues, but it's our job to take each of those individual issues from each of those special interests and understand how they can be properly balanced among the others, because you can't It's like it's a four-legged stool instead of a three-legged stool, and it has to work together for this county to continue to move forward as successfully, and to continue to be the great place it is to live. So with that, that's really, to me, that's the most critical thing that I have dealt with, and that I will continue to deal with with the board as a member, should you reappoint me. So.
Thank you so much. What are your initial observations on how planning and the Planning and Parks Department and the Planning Board are addressing racial equity and social justice issues?
Well, I think that let me take each department individually. The Planning Department has been doing, I think, a great job of community outreach, understanding the needs of each community that it goes into and that it addresses, and seeing how to best engage those communities. Each community is different. And so their needs are different, and what they're looking for and how to be heard is different. Sometimes it takes the department and the staff to be out there and pull people in, because a lot of our minority communities are not, and those that are, challenged, don't feel that they have a way to be heard or don't know how to do it. So I have to tell you that from the planning department, I think the community outreach efforts are really, they're great. They can always be improved, but I think they're doing a great job. On the Parks Department, let's start with the Planning Department, conducted a lot of data research and established equity focus areas. And I think that's great, because that's how we address the racial equity, is by focusing on those areas that need that focus. And the reason is that equity is not equality. Equality is not equity. Equity is making sure that everybody is lifted in the best way that they need it. So the Parks Department has taken those equity focus areas and has addressed park projects, whether it's a refresh, whether it's part of the CIP project, or whether it's activation of the parks, and looked at it through that equity lens and addressing it in the equity focus areas. And what the board has done is we demand that our staff do that. And I know that every time I'm looking at something where that's before the board and that has an issue, I promised that we would look at these things through, what the board's work is, through an equity lens. And I make sure that they do it by asking staff the hard questions about what did you do, how did you do it, did you make sure that you looked at it from that equity focus area, are you spread among the equity focus areas in order to address those needs. So with that, I think working together, the board overseeing both the Planning Department and the Parks Department in that way, I think has been successful. I also think that, and we take seriously, by the way, the OLO reports that we get, where they take a independent view of those actions. And, I think I believe we're trying to work with them much closer I would love to engage them a little bit earlier, the OLO, Office of Legislative Oversight, a little bit earlier to make sure that we're getting that view. And that's something that I will recommend to the board and the staff, that they work a little bit closer earlier on to address those areas.
Thank you. Final question is, can you confirm that you still do not have any potential conflicts of interest of which we should be aware?
I have none. I had my financial interview yesterday and was cleared. I can't think of any that I have.
Terrific. Turn it over to the chair of our Fed committee just to make some comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Urban. Really am glad you're
offering to continue your service on the board. We need you there. And I don't have a ton to say at the moment, but I certainly appeal to you to follow the deliberation closely at the Fed Committee over the Silver Spring Plan. I think we made a number of important changes in the plan. I do think there's sort of a tendency to get carried away with, professional techniques. And, I think the county has some challenges. And I think simplicity and transparency and predictability are really important for our economic development. And I think the committee really tried to address that in the plan. And I just sort of appeal to you in your role in the coming years to keep that in mind and to help us, because it's been a roller coaster for the whole national environment has been a roller coaster, and it has played out in this dimension also. And so that's all at the macro level, but the work that we do, and I appreciate your comments about making sure everyone's heard. Really important. It's a process. Everyone gets a voice in the process. Doesn't mean that the outcome will be to everyone's preference, but everyone gets a voice in the process. And at the end of the day, I do think we have to kind of keel back to having a predictable, affordable, reliable environment for economic development. And I just hope you'll help steer that ship. I know you will, because you have the chops to do that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I've got Councilmember Hucker, followed by Council Vice President Glass, and then Councilmember Friedson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Carol, I too, like all of us, am so sorry for your loss. I didn't realize that. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve when you step up from a staff role to a appointed position. Just like all of us in elected roles, you open yourself up to a lot more visibility, and with that comes a lot more criticism, potentially. And I really appreciate your willingness to transition from one to another. I loved your comments. You picked clearly the four most important areas, I think, that are on all of our minds, and appreciate all the examples you've provided that you've already had an impact on. You bring such a depth and breadth of technical and legal experience to this role. I loved the opportunity I had to work with you on the Managed Lanes project, and I can tell everyone you sat through so many endless meetings with MDOT to protect the interests, both our environmental laws, the opinions of our transportation planners, and the interests of our taxpayers. And they didn't take all of your advice, and they should have, but you made that project better in a lot of different ways that all our taxpayers should really be grateful to you for. My only concern is that the level of experience you bring to this job is really unfair to other nominees. In the future, it'll be a long time before we have a nominee with 16 years of experience at the senior level role at the commission. So I hope you'll stay there for a long time, and I hope you'll continue to mentor any new commissioners that we appoint after you, because we're very, very grateful for your willingness to continue to serve there. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President Glass.
Commissioner Rubin, good to see you. I also offer my condolences for your loss, but your father definitely is proud of everything that you've accomplished in your body of work, and particularly over the last year, jumping headfirst into the role in which you have. And as has been noted, you were fully prepared for that, having been part of the commission for so long. And I think it has served you and served all of us very well. And so I appreciate that. And, here in the county, we are local government. And while there might be a lot of discourse at the national level and even state level that sometimes inhibits progress, we here like to think, and I think the actions that we take show that we do make progress. And sometimes it's not as smooth as we would like, but we work through it. And clearly, the commission and the role that you have, you are sometimes at the center of these public conversations. And I just want to reemphasize thoughts that my colleagues and even you have suggested today, in that we need to make sure that we remain open in our processes, we have the tough conversations, and ultimately we need to make decisions. And I think the way that you have handled yourself is the epitome of that. And we need to make sure that we are, again, transparent, and we have these conversations so that while there might be disagreement on whatever actions are decided, there should be no disagreement about the process. And ultimately, I think that serves all of us well and will serve Montgomery County well into the future. So I look forward to supporting you yet again, look forward to working with you to make our community an even wonderful place in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friedson, followed by Councilmember Navarro.
Well, first off, echoing my colleagues, expressing our condolences to you and to your family, and I can assure you that he is very proud of you and all that you have accomplished, and we're very grateful for your service. So thank you very much for that. I'll just note, echoing some comments of colleagues, as Councilmember Hucker noted, no one has ever accused me of my very nomination or candidacy for a position being unfair to other candidates due to my depth of experience or breadth of background. So I will say that puts you in certainly elite company. I agree with that, but I was thinking how applicable it is to you and how unapplicable it has been to me throughout my career. So appreciate you for that. I'll just say, really echo the comments of colleagues. Appreciate Council Vice President Glass talking about the process and your focus on the process and really the role and what the job of the planning board is. I think there sometimes is confusion of what this role is, and you have been a really careful steward of the commission and its role and its process and also its assets. And that really is critical. And I will say it is unique for a candidate. And I'm relatively new here. I've only been through a few of these cycles. But to have an overwhelming level of support from advocates and from the business community and from everybody in between who had worked with you over your career at the commission. And I think it speaks to your seriousness and your sobriety related to the work that you do, and that's what we need at the planning board. And I really appreciate your work. You have been a great advocate for the county's interests and for the commission's resources and assets. I hope that that will continue. But you have been very careful, which I really appreciate, in understanding the boundaries of what the role are and really focused on that. And I just wanted you to know how much I respect and admire that, and I look forward to you continuing on in this role. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I've got Councilmember Navarro, followed by Councilmember Rice.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to express my deepest condolence to you and your family. I think I just feel that it's wonderful that I will get to vote for you. And so happy that you have decided to continue to serve in this capacity. Probably, I think, will most likely be my last vote to appoint a member to this very important commission. And so, as I was listening to you, I really had to reflect on the progress that I have seen in terms of how this board functions and the acknowledgement of understanding that planning really truly is that tool that facilitates the best possible outcome for quality of life in our county. And that is always fluid, right? Because there are so many elements that you have to take into consideration in this planning exercise that are not necessarily under your control. And so with that, I just think that it's wonderful that you are there with your caliber of experience, but also your deep understanding of how fluid things actually are in our county when you take into consideration the pandemic and how that has really shifted the way that we just go about life these days. But your comment about outreach and then how you followed it with engagement is what really piqued my interest, because a lot of times we want to talk about outreach, but actually it's that engagement that really gives us the kind of input that we need moving forward. So I just encourage you to continue to do that. I would have to give a shout out to, Commissioner Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, because I know that she really, truly made a lot of contributions in that space. And I can hear when you're talking, I can hear how some of that has been in many ways taken into, being part of the culture. And I think that's how we will realize the best possible outcomes in planning. So kudos to you. Thank you for stepping up again. And I really do look forward to voting for your nomination.
Thank you. Councilmember Rice, followed by Councilmember Katz, then Councilmember Juando.
Well, thank you very much. And Ms. Rubin, you said something about being proud, and that says something about your heart. It says something about your spirit. So many people can learn the great things that go with the job, but at the core is who you are as a person. And these interviews give great opportunities for us to find out more than just what your skill set is and some of those skills that you've been able to acquire over the years, but it talks about who you are and how you feel and how you're going to look to treat people when it comes to ensuring that they remain an integral part of this community. That's what I heard from you today. And that's what's so important for us moving forward. That's why I love following behind Councilmember Navarro, because she hit the nail on the head on this, and all of my colleagues have said it. I mean, it really is about, we have gone beyond planning being just something about figuring out heights and densities and FAR. It's so much more than that. It's about the opportunity that people have to be able to feel as though they are here and present in this community, that they're connected, that they're able to do all the other things that others are, not based on their individual circumstance that they find themselves in, especially economically, but also racially, culturally, and all the other things, right? And so you get that, and you know how to try and then work with all of those other those technical things that we have to make it happen, right? And that's what's truly important. So I thank you for highlighting that. I hope that my colleagues that are returning continue making sure that our focus is not just on what's on paper, but what's also in the person as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz, followed by Councilmember Juando.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Ms. Rubin. And I, too, am very sorry for your loss. And has been mentioned, I think, by every one of my colleagues, how proud your family should be and is of you and your accomplishments. And I knew, candidly, when we first appointed you, that you would be an extraordinary member for an extraordinary board. And you've only proven that every day. So you've lived literally many sides of the counter, professionally, as an appointed official, and as a member of the Montgomery County community. You have seen firsthand and continue to see firsthand what is so very necessary for all of us to see, that every topic that we discuss, it affects each person in many cases in a different way. And you realize that early on and have for many, many years. And I'm not going to dwell on this much today, but let me just say how proud I am to be able to vote for you. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Juando.
Thank you. I also, Ms. Rubin, want to, I don't know if you can see me, but you can hear me, hopefully. I'm on screen, but I see that I'm not on the other screens. But I wanted to also offer my condolences on the passing of your stepdad, on your dad. Stepdads are awesome. I've had one for about 35 years. My biological father died 5 years ago, just last week. So I know how difficult that is. And I just want to pass on my condolences. Also want to thank you for your work in the time that you've been on the board. And I really appreciated you anticipated. The reason you're not getting any questions is because you've answered them in your remarks. The one that I was going to ask you, from our previous conversations, I knew you would anticipate, is how to institutionalize and really dig deep on outreach and engagement, meaningful engagement to all communities in the decisions of the planning board. And I know that means a lot to you, and I know you've done it as a staff person and now in your time on the planning board. So look forward to voting for you as well, and look forward to working with you for many more years, hopefully. So thank you very much. And there you go. You get to see me at the very end there. But good to see you.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Ruman. We appreciate your leadership. We look forward to voting on this at a later time, but I don't think you're going to have to lose any sleep over that vote. So thank you.
No, and I appreciate it's an honor to serve, and I get invited to a lot more parties.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Some. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item number 4, which is the consent calendar. Can I get a motion to accept the consent calendar? So moved. Moved by Council Vice President Glass, seconded by Councilmember Reamer. Is there any discussion or comments regarding the consent calendar? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the consent calendar, please raise your hands. And that is unanimous. So with that, colleagues, let me just confirm. Yes, we are adjourned until 1:30. Thank you.